Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old African-American woman, was fatally shot in her Louisville, Kentucky, apartment on March 13, 2020, when white plainclothes officers Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hankison, and Miles Cosgrove of the Louisville Metro Police Department forced entry into the apartment as part of an investigation into drug-dealing operations. Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, was inside the apartment with her when the officers knocked on the door and then forced entry. Officers said that they announced themselves as police before forcing entry, but Walker said he did not hear any announcement, thought the officers were intruders, and fired a warning shot at them. According to officials, it hit Mattingly in the leg, and the officers fired 32 shots in return. Walker was unhurt, but Taylor was hit by 6 bullets and died. According to police, Taylor's home was never searched. On June 23, 2020, the LMPD fired Hankison for blindly firing through the covered patio door and window of Taylor's apartment. On September 15, the city of Louisville agreed to pay Taylor's family $12 million and reform police practices. On September 23, a state grand jury indicted Hankison on 3 counts of wanton endangerment for endangering Taylor's neighbors with his shots. None of the officers involved in the raid has been charged in Taylor's death. Cosgrove was determined to have fired the fatal shot that killed Taylor. On October 2, 2020, recordings from the grand jury investigation into the shooting were released. 2 of the jurors released a statement saying that the grand jury was not presented with homicide charges against the officers. Several jurors have also accused Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron and the police of covering up what happened. The shooting of Taylor by police officers led to numerous protests that added to those across the United States against police brutality and racism. When a grand jury did not indict the officers for her death, further civil unrest ensued. The LMPD investigation's primary targets were Jamarcus Glover and Adrian Walker, who was suspected of selling controlled substances from a drug house approximately 10 miles away. Glover had cohabited with Taylor and said the police had pressured him to move out of Taylor's residence for unspecified reasons. Glover and Taylor had been in an on-off relationship that started in 2016 and lasted until February 2020, when Taylor committed to Kenneth Walker. In December 2016, Fernandez Bowman was found dead in a car rented by Taylor and used by Glover. He had been shot 8 times. Glover had used Taylor's address and phone number for various purposes, including bank statements. In a variety of statements, Glover said that Taylor had no involvement in the drug operations, that as a favor she held money from the proceeds for him, and that she handled money for him for other purposes. In different recorded jailhouse conversations, Glover said that Taylor had been handling his money, and that she was holding $8,000 of it, that he had given Taylor money to pay phone bills, and that he had told his sister that another woman had been keeping the group's money. In the recorded conversations and in an interview with the Courier-Journal of Louisville, Glover repeatedly said that Taylor was not involved in any drug operations and that police had no business looking for him at her residence, and denied that he had said in the recorded conversations that he kept money at her residence. Taylor was never a co-defendant in Glover's case. LMPD obtained a no-knock search warrant for Taylor's apartment at 3003 Springfield Drive in Louisville. The search warrant included Taylor's residence because it was suspected that Glover received packages containing drugs there, might have been keeping narcotics and/or proceeds from the sale of narcotics there, and because a car registered to Taylor had been seen parked in front of Glover's house several times. Specifically, the warrant alleges that in January 2020, Glover left Taylor's apartment with an unknown package, presumed to contain drugs, and took it to a known drug apartment soon afterward. The warrant states that this event was verified through a U.S. postal inspector. In May 2020, the U.S. Postal Inspector in Louisville publicly announced that the collaboration with law enforcement had never actually occurred. The postal office said it was actually asked by a different agency to monitor packages going to Taylor's apartment, but after doing so, It concluded, "There's no packages of interest going there." This public revelation put the investigation and especially the warrant into question and resulted in an internal investigation. The warrant was applied for by LMPD Detective Joshua C. Jades among a total of 5 warrants approved the preceding day by Jefferson County Circuit Judge Mary M. Shaw, within 12 minutes, and which was stamped as filed with the court clerk's office on April 2. All 5 warrants con.